Okay, so now all of a sudden we're recording. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so continuation. What's not on the other one? And by the way, this one here is going to be a little bit longer because for the simple fact that the other video wasn't very long, so woohoo. 15 mil. I'm going to have to get the tailpiece off. Well, that is not included in the other transmission. So there's a few odd end things, and I haven't decided which route I'm going to go. Need to know about this transmission, or if you think I talk too much, you can find yourself another channel at this point in time. Now, that decision is yours on that one. Anyway, what you need to know about this, we may have to program this transmission and or drain this thing out real good, plug the top hole, flip it over, and remove the computer out of it and put it in the other one. That is doable, but I hope we don't have to. Anyway, moving on. I got to exchange. Not going to leave the camera on for that. So, quite frankly, as I've said it a million times before, there is really no good way of filming underneath a vehicle. When it comes to stuff like this here, there's all these nooks and crannies that's going to fight you. So, I forgot two things to remove the clips there. The old ones, existing ones. Guess I wasn't paying attention. Guess we were fortunate they slipped right out on the old one. Not so fortunate on this because it just broke off. Okay, pause you up. Okay, make sure all mounting surfaces are clean. That kind of should go without saying, but anyway. So what I got in my mind on this is a bracket up here. I'm going to try to get this all put in before I stick the transmission. Slide it all the way to the front of the stabilizer bar. Pump up. Remember, you got a drive shaft here and floating in the way. Back just a little tiny bit, and here we are in the well, I got a transmission in the way now, in the way of the light, in the way of the bracket for you to see. Yeah, that's kind of where this is at. So filming is over with. Put your bracket, I'm going to slip the bracket in the hole right there. I'm going to start the bolts, not pushing the bolts all the way through, but anyway, enough so much so that the bracket hopefully is going to hold in there, and I'm able to start it a lot easier, because this is not going to be an easy task at all. So I might as well go ahead and pause you up, or I can leave it running and you not see. That is also a thing. Like for instance right now, I don't know what you can and what you cannot see. I feel one of the bolts. It is on the edge. So now I need to get the other bolt in. And guess what? I need to move the camera because you're out in the way. All right, now I took the two longest bolts that I had in the over here on my cart, and I put them in the two bottom holes. The reason I did that is I did it for alignment purposes. Now, the transmission is being held exactly where it needs to be. Unfortunately, my jack here that I'm using has an adjustment to one side, but it does not tilt on the other. Some do, some don't. Whatever it is, you got to compensate for what you got. Now, I'm looking at the gap here. Now, we want the gap to be relatively even. So that looks pretty close to me. And we'll see about sliding this back a little. So we're pushing more on the back side than what we are on the front. Now I want to even out, or at least try to. Uh-oh. All right, and this, ladies and gentlemen, happens when you don't pay attention to what you're doing. Oh, Lordy. All right, transmission assembly's got to come back down. What a booger. I thought I checked everything over. I'll show you in just a second. Well, I thought I was going to show you, but I'm not going to show you. You're going to have to just take my word for it. So what happened was apparently my dowels are hanging in the motor. These dowels are hanging in the transmission, and I didn't catch it. So basically I got two dowels facing each other. This one was almost out, but almost don't count. Don't know if you can see that, but anyway, there's a little dowels that are in there, and well, going back up. Once again, nothing has changed. The bracket is still in it. I'm going to go back up. Try it one more time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, my goal here is not to tighten anything up, but rather to get a fairly decent alignment for the bolts to start. I want to give him every chance in the world for them to go in there. Yeah, you can't reach them. It's impossible to reach them. Well, it is for me. May not be for some people, but for me it is impossible to reach them. I can't reach around. My arms are not long enough. Pause you back up and see now if we can get this thing started with a long extension. So remembering to set the flex plate as close as we possibly could. Now that has paid off in this case. I got lucky, and that's all it is, luck. But the holes lined up. I mean, they lined up. I was able to stick a bolt in there and bolt them up. 27 foot-pounds on the torque converter bolts. And you use about this much extension. I've got a 8 and then another 2 or 3, whatever that is. I'll have to check this for you here in just a second. So here it is important to have the socket exactly, straight on that bolt. God help you if you don't. I have all of them started, by the way. Uh-oh. Went a little bit crazy on that one and went slightly over. Sue me. The two long bell housing bolts, or the two longest bell housing bolts, these are going to be the ones bolt your starter back in the hole when you get done. I'll do the flex plate first, obviously, before I'm worried about the bell housing. The bell housing is pulled up, but not torqued. I finally retired my click stick because I can't read the friggin' numbers. I happened to be on the Snap-on truck. I thought, well, if you're gonna go digital so I can read the numbers, I mean, the Snap-on is your better choice, hands down, accuracy wise and all that good stuff. And no, I'm not advertising for Snap-on. Snap-on don't do nothing for me. That's why I said what I said. These are very, very, very shallow bolts. So make sure that you get the socket sitting on square. Son of a buggeroo. That was a certifiable nightmare right there. Whew. That one hurt, ladies and gentlemen. That one hurt. One more time. I don't know what just happened, but that's why you should wear gloves. That's why I wear gloves normally. My gloves are so nasty, I don't want to get it all over my torque wrench. It's time to replace the socket, guys, girls, whatever. Unless somebody previously, whoa, went a little bit crazy on that one. Unless somebody previously rounded them over, couldn't spit it out, okay? Unless somebody previously rounded the bolts over, that socket right there is shot and it needs to go. Anyway, now that I'm bleeding, also, just need to realize that. I hate that. We're gonna put gloves back on, I guess. I'm gonna try to put the, let me pause you up, try to put the starter back in the hole. Hopefully not touch anything. So, anyway. Transmission to the bell housing. All of them 44 foot-pounds. Pause you back up, get those snugged up. So, I got my steering rack back up. 15, 18. Click, click. Friggin' dirt falling off this car the whole entire time. Click, click. So we got our steering rack, we got our transmission cooler lines. As I said before, you know, you don't have to remove those. I just did. I wanted to clean it up. I got the steering wheel put back on. I got the yoke put back on, that is. It's important to, I don't know if I said that in part one, it's important that you know that your steering wheel doesn't move. It's very easy for that thing to turn. If it's turned, it's going to be out. So you don't want that to happen. You want to keep everything as close as you can possibly keep it. So over here on the other side, once again, can't see nothing. So it is what it is. We've got a bracket to bolt on. And then we snap our park release back on. more irritating that everything in the world is going to fall off of it. I had to think about this just a minute ago. I thought to myself, you know, this is not good. I got bolts left over for real this time, and then I realized I throw the bolts from the other transmission up here. You know, don't do that. It did have me wondering for just a second. God almighty, this thing is just pouring dirt out of it. I don't understand that. Knowing the ratchet, that's going to be tight enough. Now you can still release it, don't go crazy, just enough to get the rear rolled. So we're going to go ahead and get a light. Well, maybe it won't blind the you-know-what out of the camera, although I doubt it. So here we are now with our drive shaft that has to go back in. That does push, but it's not just that easy. You're gonna have to line your bolt holes up, guys. Well, that's one thing you're gonna have to do. That ain't gonna do itself. That's where if you have if you're redoing the hub, that's where the alignment marks come in. Yeah. I ain't gonna worry about the camera. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Because I need to get this vehicle done, and at the end of the day, that's really where it's at. You know, whether you can see or not, it is what it is. I'm explaining the best I can. Able to line it up. Don't know if I'm lined up or not. Nope, not yet lined up. And to be honest, I don't know if the whole making a mark is for alignment purposes, or if that's just so you find your bolt holes, which obviously ain't that hard now, is it? This thing here does have an amount of thread locker on it, and I'm gonna opt to go without the thread locker on this one. I know some of you are gonna go ballistic, but that's okay. It is what it is. So we're going to have to start them all up before we do anything. Well, that's kind of where we're at, right there. Don't forget your little sheet metal tabs to go on it. T50, grabbed the wrong one. That had some thread locker on it. One of them did not. That's pretty good friction going in. Got some thread locker on it as well. Quite a few of these, as you just noticed, they still got about a thread locker on them, so don't worry, they're not coming out, I promise you. The only way they come out is if you forget to tighten them up. I'm going to go ahead and I'll link the torque specs in the video later on. Alright, so that's in. So this thing here, and as you've noticed, I've got a little bit rubber block on the frame right there, but I've got this engine hanging on it. It ain't gonna go nowhere. These motor mounts are tough as nails. It ain't gonna go nowhere, I promise you. So anyway, I'm gonna put the cross member back in right now at this point in time, and show you where the adjustment plug is. Well, no, I'm gonna put all the wires back on. Sorry about that. So let's get all the wires clipped back into the body and get that done first, and plug the transmission back in on the other side. So that's self-explanatory. I'm not going to film it. Now when you put your plug in right there, it's going to click. There's a bracket up there, sheet metal bracket. I hope you can see that right there, up there. 2 bolts, and remember we got all these plastic clips right there we had to clip back in. There's a bracket on the bell housing. There is a bracket on the other side on the bell housing up top. There is these 3 clips right there off to the side that have to be clipped back in, hold that wire in place. So now I'm going to do the cross member. Pause you back up. Let me flippy screeny. Now here where my Allen wrench is hanging, that is the plug you need to worry about. That's the one you need to be concerned with. The vehicle's supposed to be relatively level to do this. Now, the drain, I think they may have ruined it, so we're going to do some exchanging on that. But anyway, here's an 8mm Allen anyhow. There's a fill plug. The aroma of hopefully good transmission fluid. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't see any seal on that. So let's see if the drain is going to work for us or not. Oh yeah, that's fine. This is not black. That's a plus. I mean, it's nice and clear. That's the way that fluid is supposed to be. I'm tickled pink with that. But anyway, this is your 10mm. And these are not really made to be taken on and off, because this, ladies and gentlemen, right here, what you're looking at, the whole entire thing, the whole pan, is also your fluid filter. Okay? So, that is your fluid filter. And unless you've got a cool $400 or $300 laying around, you might not want to plan on changing that, because that's how expensive it is. That fluid right now from the dealer is at about $29 a quart. Stupid expensive. But good thing that these transmissions here are designed to last a lifetime. Just kidding. No, I'm not kidding about the segment, but kidding about the rest of it. Basically, the nutshell, that's a joke from Chrysler Corporation, like so many others from the Chrysler Corporation. But anyway, I'm not knocking the brand. It's just they come up with some doozies sometimes. It's hard to believe that they would sell us a fluid pan. That they would sell us a fluid pan for that has a filter built into it for $300 and some odd, and my truck with even more gears in it, you know, I can buy a Wix filter for $38, or at least I could. The last time I bought one, probably about 50 now. But anyway, I'm gonna pause you back up. So, well, I'll add something extra. Online, readily available. You get these little kits that's supposed to be 6 quarts of fluid, the pan, and all that good stuff. And they got a little convenient pump. Well, I don't use pump. I use this transmission fluid stuff, that filler right here. Well, that's what I use. You've seen that in previous videos, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that up. So the procedure is as follows. Take your fluid and take your plug out of the side of the transmission, fill it up until it starts overflowing. Once it starts overflowing, you let your vehicle down, you go topside, turn the vehicle on, if you have the ability to run the transmission on a rack like I got, then you turn your traction control off so you don't set all kinds of computer codes. Turn your traction control off and put it in the gear and manually shift it to the gears, and then you go back underneath. You want to have a scan tool hooked up to it if possible, or monitor engine transmission temperature with your vehicle. Anywhere around 100 degrees is fine. So at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, don't know what that is in Celsius right off the top of my head, but 40 something, at that temperature, you're going to want to refill the transmission while it's running until it starts draining. And then you have a proper fluid level. One more thing. This here fluid is greenish, a greenish brown, olive green maybe, I don't know what you want to call it. Looks clear on the camera, I'm sure. It's got a green tint to it, in case you're wondering. And the other thing, that's not really why I turned the camera on. The other thing is, I am being told that this fluid right now is on back order. So, draw your own conclusions. Pause you back up. Now, as expensive as this stuff here is, and that is what it is, by the way, I would normally not say that, but I want to hang on to these bottles so I can refill what I don't use, you know, and I'm going to probably get a clean container and catch the overflow as well. By the way, I've got, as you all well know, I've got a ton of Mighty Wax stuff, and I'm going to tell everybody to stay far away from that. I think the whole Mighty Wax brand now is other junk. I mean, when I say junk, I mean this with all my heart. It is now junk. I think any Chinese option over buying this crap here will do you'll be money ahead. I've just had too much bad luck. You know, normally I don't condemn a brand like that, but I mean, I got Mighty Vac stuff all over the place, and it just, the stuff just don't work anymore. I mean, it may have back 20 years ago it may work, but now it's just crap. It's just absolute crap. So, just saying. Oh, just to clarify on what I'm telling you is, like on my brake bleeding system, the fittings don't work for a hoot. The first time after I started using the transmission filler, it started leaking like crazy. I mean, the hose would just pour out of the transmission fluid would just pour out of the fittings. You know, the reason you buy something like that is to make less of a mess, not more of a mess. And all these items that I've got from Mighty Vac, they're crap. So that's a reasonable explanation if I ever give you one. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to end this video because the vehicle is done. So I did the fluid check, warmed it up, done what needed to be done on that part, and went for a, not an extended drive, I went for a pretty good drive. I got about 20 miles on it, and transmission shifts flawless, you know, just like it should be. Got lucky on this one. In one respect, some of the vehicles that you get, some of these transmission, and this is not something that I'm necessarily 100% know, but it depends on what it come out of. Some of them will have to be programmed, or you have to remove the computer and replace the computer in the transmission, depending. You know, Chrysler programming is not it's not hard, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do because you have to have free subscription to program anything. Thanks, Chrysler. Another good one from Chrysler. But anyway, this thing worked out pretty good. Everything is buckled up. Got everything put back together. Yeah. So I'm going to end the video right here. Like, subscribe, comments, you know where to put them. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, a little bit more information before I wrap this up. Bear with me for just a second. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and take the camera off of it. Doesn't really work real good with it being on the tripod. See what we can see here. Up there, that dude right there, that's a thermostatic block. Basically, it controls fluid going into the cooler but there is a channel on YouTube, and I might put the link in there. Well, I will put the link in there. It's Weber Automotive. He made a good point. At the low temperatures that we check this transmission, this, if you're draining it like I did, you know, this would not have opened up yet. That thermostatic valve right there would have not have opened up yet and wouldn't have let fluid get in there. So that being said, you probably ought to drive the vehicle and then recheck again if you did what I did and went ahead and drained that whole entire thing out. So it's something to keep in mind. Don't want to lead you all astray on what I do. So in a nutshell, I checked it one more time. We're good to go. But yeah, anyway, that's what I wanted to add. We'll see you on the next one.